UK to relax electric car rules as US tariffs hit, by Holly Cole and Mitchell Labiak. Now, before we start with this interesting, shockingly hypocritical story, ladies and gents, full disclosure, I was obviously going to talk about this fella, Haroon Aswat, who's being returned to the UK and released because the people that run the country are raving lunatics. But obviously, this is the Angry Bootneck channel, and we all know the chance of me making it through a story talking about a bloke like that who practices an ideology that he practices, the chance of me making it through a video like that is very slim indeed. So slim that there's more chance of Sydney Sweeney kicking my door off its hinges, marching into the kitchen and demanding she be allowed the privilege of giving me a chew. Alright, so I'm not covering this story. I mean, there's no real need to, is there? We all know, anyone sane knows that a bloke like that shouldn't be wandering the streets. But after the last 6 months, it's exactly what you'd expect. Jail the old ladies for posting things on X, release the stone cold killers. Alright, that's what we're dealing with. So let's talk about something else interesting, shall we? Something I can get into without fear of being malleted with the banhammer. Keir Starmer announced today that he's going to relax electric car rules as the US tariffs hit. I'll read you it at length and I'll discuss the stupidity and hypocrisy of the tin pot android that's running the United Kingdom at this moment. But there is one sentence I want to pull out before we get started, because it sums up just how bad a job Labour are doing. They're alienating not just everybody sane who isn't a raving lunatic who hates them already, but they're even alienating their own base, because buried in this story is one particularly interesting sentence. So they're going to ban the sale of petrol and diesel cars in 2030. However, smaller British firms like Aston Martin and McLaren will be allowed to keep selling petrol cars beyond the 2030 deadline. Yep, you read that right. So in 2030, the sale of new diesel and petrol cars will be banned for normal people, except for the ultra-rich, because their McLarens and Bentleys and Aston Martins will all be exempt. It's very Labour, that, isn't it? It's very Labour. There is a silver lining to the cloud, though. There's a silver lining to the cloud. And it's this. Everybody but the Guardian readers have been getting fingered by the Labour government. But now, with this announcement that the Labour Party, beloved by the socialist scum all across the Western world, they're going to be taxing the plums off the poor people and banning petrol cars for the little old ladies who need to get to the shops in their 900cc cheeky Chenkos. Their cars are getting banned, but the Aston Martin 8-litre injection, dead in 3 seconds if you turn it on in your garage gas guzzler, they'll be exempt for the very rich. But, well, because David Lammy wants one, doesn't he? So welcome to the club, Owen. Owen Jones, Laurie Penny, Afua Hirsch, all the Guardian subscribers. We've been getting diddled for months. I'm so happy you're all coming along for the ride now. Right then, ladies and gents, this is brilliant, fantastic news, mind-melting hypocrisy, directly digging his heels in against his base, basically doing absolutely everything wrong in the most authoritarian way possible. Ban all the things should be the mantra of the Labour Party, and it's nice to see them living up to their very, very, very low expectations. I also like how the photo the BBC's used is a bird. Yeah, obviously, there's loads of female mechanics and they love making cars. Everybody knows that. And all the bricklayers are black disabled lesbians. We know, BBC, come on, let's get to the story. The government has announced a relaxation of electric vehicle sales to help the car industry in the face of trade tariffs. A ban selling new petrol and diesel cars will still come into effect in 2030, but manufacturers will now have more flexibility on annual targets and face lower fines. Great news, that, isn't it? Lower fines. Oh, we're still going to fine you, just for a laugh, for no reason, because we're authoritarian tyrants and we do as we please. We're still going to fine you. We're going to fine you till your plums ache, but they'll drop the fine a little bit. You can't say fairer than that. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander told BBC Breakfast its changes were not a silver bullet, but part of the solution to responding to US tariffs. UK opposition parties said Labour's measure would not be enough to boost the car industry, and US President Donald Trump has imposed a 25% levy on cars imported to the United States, which is a major export market for the UK motor industry. Probably won't be for long though, will it? Because, you've all seen the last Jaguar advert. Who wants to buy a big chrome, bell-end purple bread bin with wheels on it? Who wants to drive that? consultation on the government's EV target changes ended in mid-February, but Alexander told the BBC the government had sped up the process of introducing them in response to tariffs. The government said it worked with car manufacturers to strengthen its commitments to phase out while introducing practical reforms to support industry meet this ambition. Not a very good sentence, that. Either I'm reading it wrong or the BBC doesn't hire proofreaders anymore. Makes sense. They need to save the money and hire more diversity officers instead, don't they? Currently, 28% of new cars sold in the UK this year must be electric, a target that will rise each year until 2030. But manufacturers will be given more freedom in how they meet their yearly targets, meaning if they don't sell enough EVs in a year, they can make up for it by selling more the next year. This is just gobbledygook. This is the politics of wishy-washy idealism. What do you mean? People do have to buy cars. You do realise that, don't you? Who else is the government going to buy them all if people don't want to? What if you don't want one? What if you're skinned, like vast swathes of the population of the UK? I've been gainfully employed for 20 years. I could buy an electric car if I really wanted one, but I refuse to because people like you want me to buy one. So I'm keeping the gas guzzler till the absolute last second. I've got a piece of shit 2003 thing and I'm never getting rid of it. I'll drive it till the wheels fall off, purely out of spite. Oh, and if you make me, I'm sure they won't in the United States because it's slightly more of a free country than the UK. If they make me buy an electric car, every time I'm forced to drive it, I will set a mattress on fire in my back garden. Just for a laugh. In addition, the fine of 15 grand per vehicle sold that does not meet the latest emissions will be cut to 12 grand. Nice one, love that. And a ban on the sale of hybrid vehicles has been confirmed from 2035. Aston Martin and McLaren will be allowed to keep selling their cars, however, because massive, posh, heavy, fancy cars with huge engines, they definitely don't pollute as much as little scruffy poor people cars. Cheers, Kia. Loving that, mate. So anyway, to sum up, I'm already bored with this story, but I couldn't cover the juicy one. You're in the shit, lads. You're in the shit. The UK economy is definitely going to do what it always does when a Labour Party takes over and tank. They are going to wipe it out. People can't afford electric cars and they're hoping if they just ban and fine and threaten people, suddenly 20 million people are all just going to buy one. It's not happening. It's not happening. So get your granny some creatine and some whey protein and get her an exercise bike and tell her to start putting the effort in now so when they forcibly take a vehicle off her, she will be able to get to the post office to draw a pension out. Okay? Make the old bastard do some exercise because that's what's coming. It's either that or you give Ethel a piggyback to the local post office because she ain't going to be able to drive there. All right? Brilliant. Love that story. And they're making waves for the rich. Because of course they are. Because all them Labour MPs who are fiddling their expenses, and kids on occasion, they all want an Aston Martin. And at the end of their term, they'll all be able to buy one. Because it's going to be like Stalin's Russia. And all of the people in the party are all going to be minted. So as I've been joking about for many, many years, it's going to happen, isn't it? You're going to be walking everywhere. They're going to be driving Aston Martins. Okay? You're going to be eating cricket paste and you're going to be banned from taking the kids on holiday to Spain. So you'll have to go to Butlins in Skegness once a year, right? When they let you out of the government-enforced workhouses. But David Lammy and Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband, they're going to be on private jets, eating fillet steak, getting noshed off by trafficked children. Okay, that's what's coming. I've told you this for years. You all laughed, didn't you? You thought surely he's only taking the piss. Well, no. And I think this story about banning cars for you, but not for them, perfectly illustrates my point, doesn't it? Better than anything I can say. So that's it. Please let me know what you think in the comments. As usual, I always find it funny. Remember, build Granny's calves up, yeah? Get her some weights. Put her on a Peloton, whatever it takes, because she's gonna need powerful lungs and legs if she wants to do her shopping twice a month. All right. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gents. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.